Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the Grow Your Life podcast. My name is Jeremiah Kurkowski. In this podcast, I talk about ways for you to grow your mentorship, coaching, training, and speaking business. How to make tens of millions of dollars online, or even if you just want to make a few $1,000s, how to get started the right way. I did a mastermind this weekend, spoke for 2 days straight, and came away with a lot of really great information I wanted to share with you on this podcast. One of the number one things that resonated with the people that we were talking to that I think is going to be really impactful for you is the idea of making faster decisions. And I think that this is something that people way too often avoid and ignore, and it's such a powerful success strategy. In our society today, we're taught to be super cautious, super careful, tiptoe around things, be very, don't jump until you know for certain that something's going to produce a result. Successful business owners, millionaires, six-figure earners, they make decisions fast. They don't sit on a decision. And the problem is this: business is hard. It takes a long time to actually get stuff done. Like, even if you made super fast decisions, it's still going to take you a long time to accomplish things. And by taking longer and delaying the inevitable with your decisions as a business owner, you're not going to make things happen faster because you're more accurate with your decisions. That's a big false belief and a lie that people think is, if I can make perfect decisions, then I can make sure that I'm more successful. In fact, it kind of seems like that's what you would do to be successful, because otherwise we don't want to make the wrong decisions. We want to make sure that they're the right ones. The problem is this, is that if we're taking a long time to delay decisions, it's better to make an imperfect decision today than to push off a decision to next week. I promise you that. Promise you that in your business. And this is one of the biggest mistakes I think a lot of people make, is that they're so worried about making things work out the way that they see it. Of course, we want things to work out. We want them to come together. But sitting on an idea, and part of it could also be fear of missing out, where you're afraid to decide on one idea because there's 3 others that might be just as good. It takes deciding on something, even if it might not be, quote unquote, the best. And listen, you can come up with 1,000,000,001 reasons why it's not the best, and delaying things is better. That is not going to make you successful. It's not going to make you financially successful. It's not going to protect you. And so it's really an amazing thing, as our brains are wiring us and telling us that it's for our own good, that we're going to delay our decisions, we're going to make sure that they're perfect, we're not going to take too much risk, things like that, when in fact, taking risky decisions without all the evidence, without all of the facts. This is coming from somebody, by the way, who is what's called a fact finder. I need to have all the facts before making decisions, and I've had to train myself. It's okay to jump and actually use the decision to make better decisions. Here's why. Because you can make an initial decision, and as soon as you make that decision, new data starts to come into your atmosphere. When we delay a decision, all we're doing is guessing. We're guessing how something might go. And you might even be guessing based off of past experience or experience from other people. It's still guessing. And so you can't really have any actual evidence of what's going to work. Your fact finding isn't even going to be effective until you take riskier decisions. That's the paradigm shift. And I think that's what's stopping so many coaches and mentors from being successful. They're taking way too long to decide to take action, to plan their actions, when in fact they would do better to just take less than perfect action and tweak and adjust and course correct it along the way. I get that this might not be natural for you. I get that this might not be how you've always done things. Okay? Especially if you are not a major risk taker personality. One of the greatest activities that you can do that's going to make you more successful is faster, imperfect decisions. Taking more imperfect action. Training yourself, even if it's hard, even if it's uncomfortable, to leap forward. I see people to this day, they've been in my coaching group for over a year, and they still have not made a decision to launch something yet. And I ask them why, and it's always because they came up with a better idea. And this is one of the problems that people make, is they make a decision to come up with a better idea, when in fact putting something out there, growing an audience, getting real people in front of you and actually connecting with people is the only way to really grow a coaching, training, and mentorship business. If you don't have people in front of you to actually coach, train, or mentor, how do you expect to have a business? Okay? And so we can start off by connecting with people through our social media, through our email lists. We can host live Zoom calls. We can host events where we connect with people. We do Q&A. We do a VIP session. The goal is this: to gather as much data and information as you can about the target prospect. Because here's the truth that you might not realize: no matter how much experience you have, you don't know everything about the people that you're working with. You just don't. I've been in this industry for 2 decades, and I still don't know everything about the people that I'm working with. And every single month, I'm learning new things. Every 6 months, I notice a major pattern shift in the direction of how I'm marketing, selling, training, and coaching in my business to improve. We've had a massive shift happen in just the last month in the direction that we've taken a lot of our content, a lot of how I talk and communicate. I'm way more confident now in how I communicate. I'm the most confident that I've ever been. And it comes from a very authentic place. But it started by me taking imperfect action. Even when I didn't feel so confident, that's what actually got me here. I didn't wait until I felt this way today. What got me feeling confident is taking unconfident, slightly delusional action overall. Stepping into the imposter syndrome, actually embracing the idea of the imposter syndrome. I was listening to a podcast the other day. A comedian was on Joe Rogan, and he said every time that he steps onto a new stage at a new level, where he goes maybe from a music hall to a stadium, imposter syndrome strikes. Why am I here? I don't deserve to be here. And in fact, that is his clue to know that he's stepping into the next direction. And Joe agreed with him. He said anybody who's done great things actually is the imposter when they show up. See, this is the problem that most people make, is they're waiting until everything is perfect, that they got all the achievements and the accolades and everything's working out, when in fact it's just a simple decision to show up in your power. And it's a decision to not let any of what anybody thinks about you stop you from being the best, most powerful version of yourself. I believe that anybody who's listening to this right now can make 6 figures in a business. If you don't believe that about yourself, that's what's going to stop you, nothing else. And you can change your beliefs about yourself. I was talking to a lady this past week. She said that she felt like she struggled to make 6 figures because she hasn't made 6 figures. Just basic math. Everybody who's made 6 and 7 figures at one time never made it. And they made a decision to step out and to do things that would put 6 figures and 7 figures in their bank account. They didn't wait until they felt good enough to do so or achieve something. Unfortunately, our academic system has lied to people and created this gatekeeping where you don't deserve and aren't allowed to teach, and you aren't allowed to step into a higher level until you quote unquote reach certain accolades and milestones. I think that's one of the most dangerous, deadly things that's happened in our culture and our society today, is that we don't really support promoting people to higher levels. Now, of course, there's a deeper conversation to this. You are always going to start off and not feel like you're at 100% when you're starting out. That's the rub. That's the thing that a lot of people, they're waiting until they feel good enough. They're waiting until they feel 100% to finally put themselves out there. When in fact, feeling like 50% or even 30% is when you need to put yourself out there. And that is what will transform your life, your business, and your income. Making faster decisions. Stop waiting until the stars align perfectly or things come together perfectly. Stop letting your pride, your ego, your judgment towards other people. Maybe you judge other people who, quote unquote, claim to be able to do things but haven't, quote unquote, accomplished it in their life. Or maybe you, quote unquote, judge other people who flippantly make decisions quickly with lack of evidence. I'm sorry, but that's what's stopping you from being successful financially. And I can say this with confidence of working with thousands of coaches, trainers, and mentors, that when you can literally rewire your brain to not operate this way as the norm, and you take faster decisions, and you stop waiting until all the situations are perfect according to what everybody else around you is telling you. Society tells you that you can only move forward until you've checked off certain milestones. Society tells you can only make a decision once you've checked off certain milestones. I'm here to tell you that that is a made-up, invented structure that you do not have to operate in if you so choose not to. Now, if you want to operate in it, go ahead, but you're going to delay yourself from actually being successful, from actually making the kind of money that you want to make. And unfortunately, that becomes an addiction to learning, and you have an aversion to actually doing anything with what you're learning because you become so caught up in the learning process and avoidant of actually doing something. And that's an issue that goes on inside of our head. I had this issue for the longest time, by the way. I did. I'm saying this to somebody who has been there, done this, lived the life, bought the t-shirt, has the proof and the receipts. Okay? And so I'm not just saying this as like some weird random opinion. That I'm somebody who, looking back at the last 5 years, 10 years, 20 years that I've been in this industry, I could have been a millionaire 20 years ago. Literally. There's no reason I couldn't. Knowing what I know today, 20 years ago, if I did it, I even tried 3 or 4 times. Now, of course, it took me that amount of time. It doesn't have to take you that long. It was my fear. It was my worry. It was me not believing in myself. It was me being so concerned with what everybody thought about me and doing the quote-unquote right things that everybody says that I should do and being a good boy and checking off all the boxes, putting the stars on my chore chart to say that I did all the things I should, believing that then I deserve some kind of success. And the truth is, that doesn't make you any more deserving. That stops you from being successful. If I could do it all over again, I would do exactly what I'm telling you right now. Make faster decisions. Stop waiting until you feel ready. You'll get ready by taking action before you feel ready. In this business, that's what's going to take you to $250,000 and $500,000 and beyond. I'd love to be able to mentor you in this. Listen, if you're not part of my Client Growth Accelerator program, get on the waiting list. The doors open a couple times a year. When we do open the doors again, I'd love to have you join us. As well, every couple of months we host live free events. They're exclusive training events where I pull back the curtain on what's working and dive deep into a specific topic that's going to help take you from where you are to where you want to be and be successful in a business. And so I'd love to have you join me. If you see me marketing or advertising one of these live events, register for it, join us, and I can't wait to help you become a 6 and then eventually 7-figure business owner. We'll talk soon. Have a good one. Grow your life.